Brooke, would you go ahead and do roll call?
Yes. Josh Fuller. Jerome Vernon.
Present.
Thomas Stark.
Present.
Owen McCall. Jerry Wade. Ken McWilliams.
Present.
And Mike Pittman.
Here.
Thank you.
Everybody have a chance to look over last month's minutes? Additions, deletions? Okay.
I move that the minutes be approved. I'll second.
Great. Well, I'd like to welcome everybody to the
Hold on.
December.
We need to
Oh,
vote.
have to vote, yeah, sorry about that.
Jerome Vernon.
Approved.
Thomas Stark.
Approve.
Ken McWilliams.
Approved.
And Mike Pittman.
Approved.
I'd like to welcome everybody to the December meeting, Historic District Board of Review. Just a little bit about the procedure. When your application is called, we'd like for you to come up to the podium, introduce yourself. Brooke will lead us through the presentation, and then at the end of the presentation, if you have anything you'd like to add, you may do so. Then we'll open it up to the board if they've got questions, and then finally, if there's anybody in the audience that might have questions, we will open it up to them. So let's go ahead, Brooke, with presentation number 1, and I don't believe Mr. Wells is here yet, is he?
No.
Okay, so we can, he is coming though?
He did indicate earlier today that he would be here.
Okay. Well, let's go ahead then, and we'll start with the second application, which is Historic Madison at 118 West 3rd Street.
Hello, I'm John Stacer, representing Historic Madison, do you need me to explain anything?
We'll let Brooke go ahead and present your application,
Okay.
and then if you have anything to add at the end,
But
you can do
you
so
just
then.
you just already said that, didn't you?
Yeah, that's
You
okay.
only have things to add.
Alright, so this application by HMI, or Historic Madison, is regarding a circa 1840 gable L zoned historic district residential. COA request is to infill a rear door, not originally a door, and remove the 1990s wood trim. You can see the photos of what the door looks like currently. This is different drawings of what it looked like according to the Sandberg maps. You can see the different additions that have been added and whatnot over the years, but indicating, you know, the frame cottage and all that shows. Sorry, there was no structure on the site. That this building was moved, and that is all I have.
John, did you have anything else you'd like to add?
Just as Brooke said, who knows when that door was added in. It was a 2-room brick building originally built with later 19th century additions put on when the building was on West Street. And when, I still call it the new medical office building, was built near where KDH used to be, that building was in the way, so we struck a deal with KDH to have it moved. We did not move the wood frame structure that was attached to the rear, and that was an interior door, and it was only exposed when we moved the building in 1999, and unfortunately it's still an interior door in there. We no longer need the door. It's not required for code purposes. We used it when we were moving exhibits and stuff in, and so we looked at putting in a metal security door or something on that, and because of the way it's framed and set in, it was going to be really cost prohibitive to do that. And since we didn't need the door, we came up with the idea of just filling that in. We're not going to tooth the brick in, we're just going to infill it, and so that if we need to, for whatever reason, put a door back in there in the future, why you want to do that, I don't know. But if it's reversible, and it'll be brick veneer, we're going to do a wood frame wall, it'll be a plywood wall, and then we'll infill with brick and use brick ties to attach it to the new wall, and then paint over top of it. So it'll make it more secure for us in terms of having the building there, and get rid of that ugly interior door.
Yeah. trim removal that you were talking about is just around the door, correct?
That wood front, yeah, that's just, was put on when we moved the building over there
Yeah.
because.
And that's
it
what
was-
you're referring to, that you want to remove? the
Yeah,
trim.
that's just face nailed onto the brick, yeah,
Yeah.
so that'll go, that's just 1x6, modern 1x6 material.
Okay. Any other questions from the board?
No. No.
Okay. Any questions from the public? Okay, then, Ken, would you mind starting us off? Findings of fact?
Yes, so the guidelines, pages 40 and 42 have nothing at all to guide us with John's changes. So I'm going down to underneath, scroll down, Brooke, scroll down.
That's it, there's only the
Okay.
9.
Then I'm reading from the package you sent out,
Yes.
under conformance with guideline ordinance and standards. And the project is in conformance with doors and entrance guidelines because it's not a historic entryway, it's on the rear and restores the historic appearance of the rear elevation. So I agree with this application.
Mike?
I agree for the same reasons.
Charles?
I agree for the same reasons.
I agree for the same reasons. So I'll take a motion.
I've got the form, so I'll make the motion. Based on the preceding, I'd like to make a motion. Based on the preceding findings of fact, I move the Madison Historic District Board of Review grant a certificate of appropriateness to Historic Madison Incorporated for the proposed application at 118 West 3rd Street to fill in the non-historic original door, non-original, non-historic door in the back.
I second.
Roll call?
Jerome Vernon,
Approved.
Thomas Stark,
Approved?
Ken McWilliams,
Approved.
and Mike Pittman.
Approved.
And you'll get your certificate of appropriateness in the mail and you can proceed with the work. Thanks, John.
Thank you so much. Probably won't happen till springtime now that we're in the middle of winter, but
Right.
that's okay. We've lived this long, it'll take a couple more months.
Exactly.
Thank you all very much.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it. Have happy holidays.
Merry Christmas, John.
Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Wells, up here. Let's go ahead then to the third application tonight. And that is, let's see, Louis Joyner and John Morgan. Hi there.
Hi, I'm Louis Joyner, from Louis Joyner Architect in Columbus, representing John Morgan on this project.
Okay, Brooke.
As he stated, the owner is John Morgan, being represented by Louis Joyner Architect. It's regarding a circa 1890 Italianate gable front zoned historic district residential property on 100 Elm Street. COA request is to install a 10-foot by 16-foot wood accessory building at the rear of the property. I'm sorry,
remove.
it is not. It is to remove the lean-to structure. I apologize about that.
You had me scrambling.
Yeah, sorry. It is to remove the structure, and we'll go to the picture so you can see the lean-to that was added. Obviously, it's a non-historic addition that was put on. I could give a rough estimate of time, but I don't think that's really cogent to the issue. But other photos showing the west and the north sides of the building. Another photo of the south, northwest view, southwest view of the front, interior of the lean-to, and you can see the modern materials, more modern materials in building application to that. The view from the southwest. The interior picture showing the original south wall of the building, which is still largely intact, but you can see on the left-hand side of that photo that there are some areas to be repaired once this is removed. And these would be the photos of what it would essentially look like after the lean-to, or with the lean-to currently.
And then the third image, the third drawing is with it removed.
Yes, I apologize. Yes, you're right. Sorry, thank you for catching that. And then floor plans.
that it, Brian?
site plans, and yes, that is all I have. And I will go back to one of the photos if you prefer. That one?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
good. Did you have anything that you'd like to add?
Well, just to explain, the project, we're moving this shed. It was added to the building. Part of the problem is that it's actually starting to deteriorate, so we're concerned that it's actually gonna start damaging the building. So it will come off. We will have to reconstruct a couple of openings, and then we'll be building, because this is also right against to the city pool property. We're gonna be building a fence around this area. The property line is really at the face of the shed. But I don't know if you noticed, there was a gate that is right next to our building that also serves the pool.
Yes.
So that's partially on Mr. Morgan's property, partially on city property. So we're gonna leave that open for the time being until John decides to work out a more long-term relationship arrangement with that. But right now the plan is leave that still accessible to the pool
Mm-hmm.
for their maintenance. And we'll have, for just the prudence, we will fence off around this area
Sure.
for the long term. We do plan to, because there's a long-term renovation plan that's developing on this building, we're not making any don't want to replace or repair the existing windows that are down there. We'd rather just kind of infill them there, because there are 3 openings that still have fragments of the original windows. They may be repairable, maybe not. But as part of a long-term renovation, we would fix that. So the short term is we'll board up those windows just like the ones on the second floor.
So the fragment of the windows you're talking about, they're on the south side.
Yep.
Within that. Okay.
Underneath the shed, yeah.
Because I believe, on the north side, those windows are pretty intact, aren't they?
In the front section of the building, so this building was originally like the 1890s, I think it was a cooperage originally, some kind of little building. And it's kind of a story and a half. And then this section that we're seeing there is about a 1905 addition. And so the front section still has pretty intact windows.
Mm-hmm.
The rear windows are typically closed up, boarded up already.
Yeah. Anything else you'd like to add? Questions from the board?
I think John owes it to us as the city to preserve Speedo wearing man somewhere on that wall. And it's offended children and grandchildren, so I don't see any reason to take it away. So, but there's no plan to put windows in the south side yet, but maybe someday, maybe.
We're actually starting with him this winter on planning a renovation. So,
Great.
so it's not like way in the offing. We're actually.
So the fact that you're restoring the windows to hold a window would imply then that the next step would be the window installation.
That's right.
Yes.
And so, Louis, you'll have to come back to the board for that
Right.
process.
Right.
Mike, Jerome?
I have no questions.
My wife is very pleased the shed's gone away.
It is kind of falling down.
It is a little problematic.
Do we have any comments or questions from the public? Okay, with that, Jerome, would you like to start us off with findings of fact?
Sure. Okay, let's see here. The building that contributes to the historic district character of the historic neighborhoods are irreplaceable physical evidence of Madison's past philosophy and historic structure. Affects not only the individual buildings, but the surrounding landscape. Demolition may be appropriate if the building does not contribute to the historic character of the district, which it doesn't. And applicants for demolishing should explore possibilities for selling or reusing historic building. We're not dealing with that here, so we're fine on that one. I think it was what, 4? That's what actually applied. Demolition may be appropriate if the denial of demolition will result in a demonstrable economic hardship to the owner. We're not dealing with that here. Demolition by the neglect, that's occurs when the building is allowed to deteriorate. We're not really dealing with that here to any great extent. And I think that's it.
On the demo, and then, we have the doors and entrances because they're rebuilding.
Okay, so historic doors should be retained and maintained. It doesn't seem like there's many doors in there that are still there, so I think you're just gonna brick that off.
There's one opening that was a door, it's now just a
I see.
brick opening, and we're gonna rebuild a door in that.
On the south side,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, so, okay, primary entrances to commercial buildings should be accessible to meet ADA requirements. This is not possible, alternative entrances should be available. I think this is actually just gonna be like a rear fire escape or exit from that structure.
That actually would really just be more like a service entrance.
Service entrance, okay. To be clearly marked, so on and so forth. It's a commercial structure. If the historic doors do not allow for universal access, they should be retrofitted to meet standards. Deteriorated or damaged historic doors should be repaired using methods that allow to retain their historic fabric as possible. Owners are encouraged to replace missing or severely damaged historic doors with new doors that replicate the original or other historic examples. Clear glass, single light, multiple light, painted wood doors are usually appropriate for replacing missing original primary doors in the district's commercial buildings. The opening in the secondary entrance may be smaller, or doors may be of solid wood. Darker bronze anodized metal, though less appropriate, may be suitable for wood. New screen doors should be sympathetic to the style of the building. I don't think we have to deal with that in your case. Storm doors, I don't think we have to deal with that either. And security doors may be used on doors not visible from the street. I suppose that door is going to be locked and highly secure and so on. Okay, let's see, what do we have now here? Original brick, stone, terracotta, cast concrete, other masonry original to the building should be preserved and maintained. Did seem like there was some bricks in that laying on the floor. I imagine you guys will reuse that old material to infill whatever needs to be.
Yeah, we really haven't studied that brick, but it's pretty,
I see. But whatever you pick, you'll pick
Yeah.
something that matches color, texture, and so on and so forth. So basically, it'll be invisible with respect to any.
It's intended to be.
Masonry should never be subject to any kind of abrasive cleaning, such as sandblasting. Here, plain paint, it's all brick, you don't have to worry about that. Use of detergent cleaners to remove dirt and grime is acceptable, including brick. I think we have to worry about that one too much either. The use of silicone-based water sealants in masonry walls is not recommended. Water sealants do not allow the bricks to breathe and can trap moisture within the inside walls, refer to National Park Service and so forth. Masonry that has never been painted should remain unpainted unless the bricks and mortar are extremely mismatched. The earlier repairs or patching. Buildings which have been sandblasted and show significant brick and mortar erosion may be painted to help seal masonry surface. In Madison during the 19th century, painted brick was a common practice purely for aesthetic reasons. These historically painted surfaces should be maintained. Originally historic surfaces should not be stuccoed. Historic masonry should remain visible and untreated. Exceptions are if the bricks have lost the protective outer coating, in which case paint may be used for preservation, or if repairs have failed to stop water from getting into the bricks, in which case water repellent coatings might be appropriate.
Sorry, you have one more.
Okay, this is going on forever. Historic windows should be retained and maintained. Historic windows should not be covered or painted. Deteriorated or damaged windows should be repaired so the windows retain their historic appearance. Replacing removed sections with in-kind materials. Use epoxy strengthener to strengthen deteriorated wood. Replacing missing panes or sashes rather than the entire window. If 80% of the window is damaged and or missing, and windows must be replaced, use designs that replicate the missing historic windows or other historic examples that appear to be appropriate for the building being worked on based on physical evidence.
Does it meet the guidelines and why? Does it meet the guidelines and why?
Yeah, I feel this meets the guidelines, and I see no striking evidence in our guidelines which indicate that it does.
Ken?
I approve, same reasons.
Approve, same reason.
Yes, I also approve. I think that the demo of the shed is appropriate. It takes the building back to its original look. I also want to applaud you for going ahead and repairing the windows for, hopefully potential installation of new windows down the road. I think it'll really clean up, and especially since we have all the work going on down at the pool,
Yeah.
this is going to really make that look a lot more attractive. So I'm in agreement. Okay, I'm going to ask for a motion.
Based on the preceding findings of fact, I move that the Madison Historic District Board of Review grant a certificate of appropriateness to John Morgan for his project at 100 Elm Street to demo the lean-to on the south side of his building and to infill and seal up the building with the appropriate brick material.
Second,
I'll second.
roll call.
Jerome Vernon,
Approved.
Thomas Stark,
Approved.
Ken McWilliams,
Approved.
and Mike Pittman.
Approve.
Thank you so much. Your certificate of appropriateness will be in the mail. And,
Speedo, man. You protect.
You want to?
Yeah. You know what?
For your house.
Take that, cut it out, and put it on the front of his house.
Put it in the nearest dumpster.
Can you take the mural panels and just go put them on his house?
Thanks very much.
Okay, so the third application is Mr. Wells. Do we have any updates on whether he's coming?
Yes, he is here.
Oh, hi, Mr. Wells, come on up to the podium.
If you don't mind, real quick, before he approaches, I was just gonna note that we did have one application that was withdrawn
Sure.
on, December the 6th, and that was the, Scott and Karen Stoner, / Deborah and Kenneth Dale Anderson application, for Main Street. So I will go back to Mr. Wells now.
Great. Mr. Wells?
Yes,
If you could state your name,
Dale Wells,
address,
1037 West May.
okay? And we'll have Brooke walk through your application, and then if you have anything you'd like to add after that, discuss, and we can head in that direction.
Thank you.
This is Mr. Wells' second time appearing before the board. He had come earlier concerning his circa 1850 contributing Italianate, zoned residential medium density R8. The COA request is to build an attic addition to house one room, a half bath, 4 wooden doors, 1 front, 3 rear, using wood, asphalt shingle, wood or aluminum clad windows, 8 exterior lights, and hardy board siding. These are the photos showing 2013, what the house looked like previously, and the rear, 2013. These were the initial sketches. Mr. Wells provided of the work that has been done so far, showing what he wanted to do with the rear and front elevations. These are more current photos showing the work that has been done to date, the left showing the front, the right showing the rear. And this rendering is the new proposed addition on the front, which would essentially mimic the left lower portion of the building. And this new addition would set back approximately 8 feet from the front peak of the porch projection. It keeps the federal architectural style and fenestration of the historic portions of the home. And the cornice will be reproduced from the first floor east wing and installed on the top addition. This shows the site plan. And then I'll just leave it at this.
And Dale, did you have anything else you'd like to add to the
No,
presentation?
No, she's spot on.
Okay. Questions from the board?
Dale, Brooke, so it says it's rear addition is 8 feet back from the front porch eve. So,
It follows the face of the building. in other
okay,
words.
thank you, that's what I was trying to ask, thank you, Dale.
So the face of this new addition on the front is basically in alignment with the
Exact
structure
alignment
below?
The structure below.
Okay, gotcha.
Is that a change, Brooke, from that 8 feet, I mean, now it's just not on the front porch, Brooke? I mean, what-
No, it's not on the front porch.
Yeah, but is that a change from the first presentation, or?
Yes, so if we go back to the first, look at the picture on your left, and you'll see, and I say it's a change. Now looking at it, it does change because it makes it longer,
There's no door.
and there's no door, but, because it will be 3 windows instead. But it does not change the setback of this what's currently up there.
Okay, thank you.
Uh-huh.
Now, if I read this correctly, you wanted to put a door on the front. Would you consider possibly using 3 windows across the front and
Yeah,
no
that's
door?
what-
That's what we determined.
Okay, okay, just wanted to clarify that. Thank you. Where are the 8 lights going also?
There were no lights above. There's the two on the front there on the front porch, and then one in the back, the one that's in the back. But I think that was a communication.
Okay, okay. So, in matching the new addition to the eastern portion of your current building, you are intending on matching the corbels and the molding?
Yes.
Exactly?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Any other questions?
So on the picture of the rear, so you got some doors up there, couple doors, 3 of them going across the top of this new addition you're putting in. What are your plans? How do you, is that second addition set back? Is there a walkway up there?
No, it's on the face of the building.
So it's just decoration,
Yes,
it's just a big window.
right.
So those aren't double doors, those are windows.
They're double doors, but the purpose is for window, not for any egress, or, I guess they could be used for, but, just.
There's no decking, right?
No.
Okay.
No,
Are you thinking that you'll do like a Juliet balcony?
just only the banister,
A banister, okay.
just only the banister.
So it'll be a little walk with a banister?
No, just only the banister would come out in an arch and come back in, and basically be inside the frame of the door.
And this is already approved, right, Brooke, because it's finished, this portion of it?
No,
No?
no,
Okay.
none of this.
And the banister then, Dale, are you planning on using wood or?
Just metal,
Metal, okay.
metal arc.
So what would prevent somebody from opening one of those doors and stepping out? I mean, wouldn't you just fall like 30, 40 foot onto the ground?
The banister's inside the door,
Banisters from the side.
Inside the door.
it's inside. There's 8 inches of space inside that door. If you recall the one that's on the, right across from, the park where the music is downtown, just.
The new building, right?
Yeah, it's like that.
Yeah,
Okay.
where they used to sell or rent golf carts.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, like that.
So your doors open in?
Yes.
Okay.
But basically, those doors would not open if you put a bast across the inside.
There's no way those doors can open with a steel railing over
There's
it.
steel railing on the outside.
It's outside. So you can still open them up, you just can't walk out.
Right.
Yeah.
I thought the railing was gonna be an inside.
Inside of the door, there's an eight inches of difference from the door to the exterior.
So the frame? Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so it would be inside that case.
Are you doing individual?
Yes.
Okay. So basically like a Juliet balcony?
Yes.
Yeah,
But you couldn't step out.
yeah.
So,
Just for decorative purposes.
Right.
Dale, I think we're trying to figure out how to ask you, has the building inspector approved those openings, those doors opening and the railings are sufficient to protect people from falling? Have you had it that element of your plan inspected by the building inspector?
No.
Okay, I think you should do that right away. They're just, because the four of us think there's safety concerns, so.
Why would you?
Well, you and I wouldn't jump off, but it doesn't mean that someone else couldn't have the ability.
Child.
With even as the one that's on Second Street, they could still climb through it, a child. But,
The one on First?
yes, the one on First.
Yeah.
That's all I have.
Somebody wants to jump off a bridge, you're not gonna stop them.
So is there an original
Jesus.
of the back photo of the back of the property? I want to take a look at that.
Yes, I will go back to the original pictures. That would be the original 2013. That's the best photo I could get.
So we can't see what's behind that tree, obviously.
Not really. I mean, you can tell that rooftop addition was not there, but
Okay, go ahead and move forward to the proposed modifications.
Back or front?
Back. Oh,
oh, the back.
yep, there you go.
Okay.
So what about that other double door? Is that? that's
I'm gonna put a balcony on that.
There'll be a balcony, and
Yes.
and you installed that door.
Yes.
So that
There's
goes
a
with
there's a
modification.
skylight that goes above it. It's in an arc.
I see. So, and currently that there's nothing there, you will install a balcony there or something?
Yes.
And then the arc will bring it pretty much in
Right.
alignment with the other windows.
Exactly.
I don't have any further questions.
Okay.
Do have people here interested?
Yes, do we have any body from the public that would like to speak in regards? Okay. You'd like to come to the podium and state your name?
Good evening. My name's Paul Lee. I live at, mic not on?
Yes, it does.
I was hard of hearing.
Okay.
Just lift it up to your mouth. Yeah, that'll help.
My name is Paul Lee, and I live at 1033 West Main Street, just 2 doors east of this address. I have several questions to ask about this property. If you could go back to the 2013 there.
Or the front, which one? I'm
The,
sorry.
either one, particularly the rear.
Okay.
If you look at that, you can see that there's doors at the bottom, there's windows that open and close. Behind that tree, obviously there is no door that's been put in there that is there now without a permit. The roof line is drastically changed. You see the overhang there with the gutters, the chimney, all that is gone. All that architect historic part has been removed without permission. And if you go to the front,
I think we hold it right there. Go back again.
Well,
To the rear.
do I have the podium?
I was gonna say
Okay, well,
if you don't mind.
And then back to the front, you can see that a porch has been added with columns
there was one
during
there
this time,
previously.
since 2013. The whole roof line, the chimney is gone, all that part is gone. It's been removed. Windows have been changed, a whole bunch of structure has been changed. So I do applaud Dale for improving his property, but I don't believe that any of this is done historically. It has changed the look of this building drastically, front and rear. There has been no structural investigations done. He's
How do you
added.
know?
It was
Mr. Dell?
stated previously that there has not been inspections, a structural engineer. When he came to the meeting before, he also stated that he did not have engineering drawings or drawings or anything like that, like everybody else presents. So if this property is ever sold, it will never pass inspection. Electrically, structurally, anything. He's talking about putting balconies up there. I have watched construction going on there. Those swing out doors, there was just bricks knocked out with a sledgehammer. The parts of the walls are falling in, the exterior walls,
You
because
don't know
it was,
what you're talking about.
because it was not done correctly.
You don't know what you're talking about.
So I believe we really need to have a structural engineer in there looking at this building. He's obviously added a lot of weight on the top where he's putting that, and there's a lot of safety concerns going on there.
You've been in that building?
Does it match electrical code, fire code, safety code? No, it does not.
Have you been in the building?
Couple other things. There's been construction going on this facility, this residential. It used to be a commercial, it used to be a button factory. Back in the day, barges would come up and drop off shells, and they would punch out buttons. And what they did in this factory, they put all the shells in the basement. When Dale purchased the property, he rented a backhoe and went in there and dug all that out. So now it has a basement in there. All that's been completely dug out along the sides of each house, the house on the east side and the house on the west side. When all that was dug out, foundations were ruined. Kathy Hoffman on the west side, she has small claims against Dale, trying to get her foundation repaired. The house on the east side, which Kim and Michael Rourke purchased, had to do over $10,000 worth of repairs to the foundation there. Neither one of them got reimbursed. There's a building behind, if you go back to the back side, none of that property back there, it's all been sectioned off to another section. There is a garage back there that's been damaged, trees cut down causing damage.
I do believe, I have a site plan, if you'd like, I can go to that.
You
It
can
shows
go
what
to
you're
that,
talking-
yes.
So,
So-
I'll say that, it kind of shows where, the black line shows Mr. Wells' property, but the lot actually extends much further south.
Yeah, so it's probably, I don't know the footage, what it is off the back of the house, but in the very small left-hand corner, you can see a garage there has been damaged, a lot of property damage back there on all three corners of the property during this construction. Again, we don't have permits, we don't have plans, it's not following the historic board, it's not following any of the historic things when you do your facts checks.
Like yours does? Everything in your building came out of Lowe's.
Mr. Wells, if you don't mind, can you let Mr. Lee speak? And then, Tom, I'm sorry, I don't mean to
No, so
step
you
in,
can
but-
come up to the podium and you can, you'll have your opportunity to go ahead and speak again.
So those are the concerns I have, the safety concerns, the permit concerns, the architectural concerns. Other things are, do we have a timeline for completion? This has been, project's been worked on for many, many years to get to this point. And you can see in the pictures, lots of safety concerns with trash laying around, scaffolding there, different things like that. Nothing is roped off, taped off for concerns on that, where people can't fall in, get damaged, you know, anybody walking on the property. Also, easements and right-of-ways. As you can see, the property, there is no access to do any of this construction.
Paul, I'm sympathetic with almost everything you said, but this board has nothing to do with almost any of it. This board only has to deal with exterior changes.
Right. Okay.
Within the district.
I agree with that.
And so, and, you know, Mr. Wells, like, you know, when he comes back up, I don't believe has a building permit.
No, I've
So it
already
can't
been to the
be-
Board of
all the
Public Works
inspections
and the
have to
city
wait
attorney
until
also.
So,
So I am addressing those to the proper boards, but I do want you guys to understand the whole aspect of this,
okay.
okay? That's all I have. You know, I think that's plenty that, the work that's already been done without permits, without historic board approval. I don't know how you're gonna put this back to historically what it originally was at this point. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Mr. Wells, did you have any more comments or?
Yes.
think-
Do you mind if we take a 5-minute recess real quick?
Sure. We're going to take a 5-minute recess and then we'll be back.
Please walk this way. Are we spotting you?
Goes with it.
Well, you have to ask him, but they still have a forum out there.
Yes.
But I, keen on it,
Yes, I saw you do that. Thank you for doing that.
but
Okay. I think we're ready to convene. Mr. Wells, did you want to have the opportunity to come back up?
Yes, yeah, I would. This gentleman who just spoke has never been in my home, never been on my property. And if he has, he was there while I was at work. I certainly would have been trespassed. Now, this is the same guy here tonight to assassinate, for one reason, assassinate my work, my efforts, and everything I'm trying to do. And this is the same man who I turned around in his driveway and he called the police. Oh, and incidentally, he's called the police on me since he's moved over 90 times for pulling up and parking with my radio on in my truck that is too loud. Sometimes even 4 and 5 times a day. And it goes on unabated. Even to this day. This same gentleman, I didn't even know it was him. That's how well I know him. 2 nights ago, was on his balcony, screaming and hollering at the top of his lungs, and I looked behind me to see who he's hollering at. And then I realized it was him. I just took my groceries and go in the house. Now, if we can continue, what was the question?
I think that, we had asked all of the questions that we wanted to ask you.
Okay.
Wanted to give you a chance to talk about.
No, that's all I want to say.
Okay. Well, thank you. So, with that said, Mike, would you like to start us off with findings of fact?
Okay, new construction additions. In planning additions, the best approach is to site additions where they will not be visible from the street. And if you look at the
you bring up the front?
Yeah, the front, that will definitely be visible from the street. And again, I'm not sure what was there before. There appears to be, the picture we have, the current picture has some work that I guess has currently been done on the structure, so, that is a definite change, on that. Addition should be secondary, smaller and simpler. It is smaller and simpler. Doesn't follow the building scale, design, or placement. Addition should be compatible design in keeping with the original building's design, roof shape, materials, color. This obviously changes the roof shape significantly, along with those columns that were added as well. And that's from the 2013 pictures I believe you showed, where the columns were actually on the side. Additions should not imitate early historic architectural style or period. I don't believe these do. Again, I'm not very well versed in Queen Anne style. That's not my expertise. The recommended approach is for additions to reflect characteristics of the current period and design, but compatible with the original building. These don't seem to be. To avoid extensive removal, damage, or loss of historic materials, there seems to be quite a bit of addition of materials, as well as doors have been removed and windows that looks like they've been changed.
Bathroom. Excuse me. Hey, how you doing?
He has to use the restroom, he said he'd be right back, so it's up to you if you wanna pause or wait till.
I think we should pause.
We'll pause.
Yeah.
Oh, it's right around the corner here. Mr. Wells, right around the corner, that way.
I didn't know.
This officer still does.
No, they're in the lobby.
Yeah, no. Thank you, sir.
Nicole was saying it's good.
Should we go ahead?
I believe he's still out,
Okay.
so it's up to you.
Okay. Mr. Wells is back, and Mike, can you go ahead and
Sure.
continue?
Number 6, I think I finished with number 5. Number 6, to avoid extensive removal, damage, or loss of historic materials, additions should keep exterior walls of the original building intact as possible. I believe he's tried to do that, however, he is not using the door or window openings for connecting the additions to the building, he's adding those to it.
Okay,
My summary is, I don't believe this application, fits our findings of fact, to fit our guidelines.
Ken,
I agree, same reasons.
Jerome,
I agree with the same reasons.
and I agree for the same reasons.
Motion.
I'll ask for a motion then on this application.
Based on the preceding findings of fact, I move that the Madison Historic District Board of Review grant a certificate of appropriateness to Dale Wales at 1037 West Main Street for the proposed changes and additions to this building. And I do that because I do not believe in negative motions.
I'll second. I'll second.
Okay, roll call.
Thomas Stark,
Approve.
Jerome Vernon,
Approved?
Ken McWilliams,
Do not approve.
and Mike Pittman.
Do not approve.
Do you guys understand the motion?
Maybe not. Yeah,
It's too late.
yeah. So, roll call. Then we've got that done, so I guess we can move ahead and you will get a certificate of appropriateness to go ahead with your work. I would urge you to get inspections and permits for.
Certainly, when it becomes, I'm paying for this, everything that I'm doing out of pocket. I didn't go take out a $300,000 loan, and I wouldn't, but probably couldn't. But you know, maybe it's better understood. I think I'm a pretty good artist. Since he's moved into the neighborhood, I haven't done anything to the exterior. I went upstairs and started working because he moved in there with his racist ideology and attitude and his magna, whatever else he's on. So I've been inside working.
Yeah.
I won't go outside with him there.
No.
It's like him down here now. That's what I deal with every day I go home. I got him over there next door doing the same thing every day, 6 times a day. I can't even go out my back door.
So,
And I come in and out at his peril. And so it reminds me of doing a project in school. You know, you do an art project and and there's a guy that comes in and he had nothing to do with that project. And it was his mom, dad, maybe his mom, maybe his uncle, somebody. But you can tell the kid that did this, was leaning, maybe didn't stand up, and didn't maybe withstand the time for the session. But I promise you, this piece of work is my greatest love and has my greatest effort.
well, with that said, we do encourage you to go ahead and get your inspections.
You voted yea?
I did.
You voted yea?
And your permits.
You voted no, and he voted no?
Yes.
Are you guys from Madison?
Of course we are.
You are?
Yeah. Anyway,
Did you
you've
vote
got
for
your
Trump?
certificate of
You did?
appropriateness, Mr. Wells.
Thank you.
And you can, it'll be in the mail for you.
And you'll need to get your building permits too, so.
Yes, can I pay for those now? So
I cannot issue a building permit, but, in the morning, if you come in, if all your paperwork is right, the building inspector is signed
I
up.
can pay right in the door if you can do that. Then.
Yes, sir.
Thank
Yes,
you,
sir.
thank
You're
you,
welcome.
thank you.
You're welcome. You
Thank
have a good night.
You too.
Thank you.
Okay, I think we're ready for new and old business, Brooke.
Sorry, trying to skip back.
That's all right.
There we go. Alright. So. Does anybody else have any?
I don't have anything. Do you guys have anything? No.
I have staff report, but other than that, I don't believe there's anything
Okay.
else. Sorry about that. Alright. So,
Staff report?
we'll go to staff report. December fast track applications. Todd Boone, Brenton Catherine Evans, and Kevin Carlson for 107 East 2nd Street for a sign that was 9.33 square feet, or 32 by 42. And Judy Kaler, and Bumper Johnson on 200 Cottage Lane to add on to an existing previously approved fence by 25 feet on the eastern property line. And the December 2020 COA review, John Bergerhoff at 619 West Main Street amended a previous COA to include a standing seam metal roof and stone veneer on the foundation of a whitened carport. It is 90% done. I didn't see the stone veneer, but the standing seam roof definitely was there, and it looks like the veneer potentially would be added soon. So I just went ahead and marked that as a completed COA because it's 98% done. Robert Smith at 146 West Main Street got a COA to demolish a block accessory structure and build a 30 by 30 metal frame structure at the rear of the property, and that has been done. And that is all I have.
Any comments or questions from the public on the staff report? Okay, then I'll ask for a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second?
I second.
Thanks everybody for coming.
Thank you, guys.
Totally for you.
Have good holidays.
Same to you.
See you again.
And
I actually want to read it.
Ed Rome's last, wrong year.
What?
Ed Rome.